Welcome back everyone. In this video we're going to be replacing the sway bar end links on my Nissan Titan, and I'm going to be using rough country for 2 to 3 inches of lift. This is a Pro 4X, which is factory hire, and I do have a leveling block in it as well. So I've got a new one and an old one here in comparison. Got new hardware. They are roughly the same shape, even though they look different. It's pretty much the same. The only difference is a little bit longer length. It's about, I don't know, half an inch longer. And I'm not too fussy over the quality of these. They came with quite a few paint chips on them, but that shouldn't matter. We'll put them on anyways. First things first, you have to insert these bushing sleeves into the rubber, and they don't slip in there that easily. So what I'm going to do is put a little grease on these. I have some bushing grease that came with my sway bar left over. I'll lube those up, and I'm going to use the vise just to push them in. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the bolts too when I put them in. So let me squeeze those together and show you what those look like together. Some tools you're going to need are a 17 and 19 to remove the old end links, and an 18 and 19 to put the new ones on. You can also use sockets where they're going to fit to speed things up, or an impact. One of the nuts though, you're going to need just wrenches. The first step, go ahead and get some penetrating oil on those nuts. Help them come off. And I've got the wheel off. You don't have to have the wheel off. It will help you. I would suggest taking it off so you're not under the truck unless you have a lift. And if you turn the wheel out, it will give you better access. In some videos it suggests taking them both off before you put both on. That's not really necessary. You can just use a pry bar to pry it down or pry it up. The sway bar is essentially a spring, so it is flexible. It can move around without too much difficulty. And I'm doing mine on the ground, so I thought it was safer to remove one wheel at a time and just do one end link at a time. The other one's tightened up, ready to go. And we'll start on this one. The 19mm is to hold the nut. And I'm starting with a breaker bar with the 17mm. I'm going to break these with the breaker bar. 17mm on the breaker bar, 19 on the wrench. And if you're lucky, you can use the impact the rest of the way. May not be so lucky because that nut is rounded and it's just spinning. So if you're having the same issue, you can try some vice grips there. I'm going to go grab some and try that. So that's a no-go. Next option is cutoff wheel or reciprocating saw. I'm going to have a look and see which one I want to do, but I'm going to attempt the top nut first. And you can't fit a ratchet or socket wrench in there. You could try a ratcheting wrench. See, that one still has a nice nut. This top one here. And I don't have a longer box end wrench, which would be helpful. So just to start that, I am going to use my hammer. Let's take this now. So one of the reasons I had to replace these is the rubber is starting to get cracked and worn. It hasn't split through yet. This one's not bad. So I've opted for the reciprocating saw, and you could either do it here or here. Whatever works out the best. Might stick that nut or the bolt back in here just to kind of hold it a little bit. Give it a shot. You don't want to cut through the nut, just the bolt, so give it like this in the nut. The old end link removed, you can install your new one. The top bolt, use the washer. There's only 2 washers in the kit, so that's going to be on the 2 tops, and you're going to want your angle like that. You can go ahead and insert your top one. And I did put a little bit of that grease on the bolts. Push that a little bit. Just have to clear that like that. I'm gonna have to push it down a little bit. Install our bottom one, and there you go. And 2 locking nuts. One other thing about this kit, the instructions aren't very good. It does say to tighten to the torque, but it doesn't list the torque. Factory torque is 65 foot-pounds for the end links, but once you get up there, you're compressing that rubber pretty good. So if you can get to 65 without having the rubber start to squeeze out, then go for it. But I don't know, I think that's pretty tight for this style. So you can grab your 1819, and these are a bit more accessible as far as putting a socket or an impact on the bolt side. So you can put your 18 on there. You can take your 19 on your impact, and you can get those up there quite a bit quicker. So I got the new sway bar all tightened up. I'll go ahead and reinstall the wheel, put the truck down, and have a look at them as they sit on the ground. Like I said, the torque spec in the instructions isn't included. It says torque them to spec, but there's no spec, so it's kind of useless. Factory spec on the factory and links is 65 foot-pounds, which is kind of overkill on these, I think. But yeah, they fit well. They're easier to install than the OEM ones, and the angle seems right. So we're all installed, everything's tightened up, the alignment looks good, the position of everything looks good. So we'll take it for a test drive. The biggest hassle is getting everything set up. If you take the wheel off, getting the vehicle jacked up on jack stands with the wheel off, that probably takes the most time. It's only 2 bolts on each one, so pretty easy to do. But keep in mind, you may have to cut one of those bolts off if they're seized on like mine was. So if you found this helpful, please like the video, give me a comment if you have any questions or have any suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe and select notifications. Thanks for watching.